Information is one of the most important things in Rocket League, and the information that is available to you shapes all of the decisions you make around the field. So in today's video, we'll be discussing the importance of being aware of all of the information available on the field. Let's go ahead and see what we can see here. Decent kickoff out the gate. Boost grab, sure. So this is already where we're going to start talking about boost usage. So this is a good grab. At the current moment, like if we look at the situation the ball's in, this dude's sitting directly under it, our teammate's all the way over here, ball's just kind of floating in their corner. There's really no place that this ball is going to go overly quickly. It's not like this guy's going to rush up the wall and absolutely boom this thing downfield. Your teammate's not going to be booming it towards the net. So one of the big things is making sure that we're not moving too quickly around the field when we don't have to. So this is one of those situations where if we're using boost, we're like flying over in this direction. And there's really no reason for us to like be over here yet. Like yeah, we want to go that way, but there's no reason for us to be like in this spot in the next second and a half. Like if we get there in the next 3 seconds, that's fine. Because the other thing, we also want to just be able to keep like our momentum up, and the faster we arrive to a spot, if we get there and there's no reason for us to be there, oftentimes we just stop. and then we're just sitting here waiting to see what happens, instead of just being like smoothly moving, and then okay, the ball's coming out this way, okay, now I can use that momentum I already have to continue to attack it. Because you end up burning like 30 boosts to get to this spot, and there's nothing you can really do here. Okay, these are ones we want to be careful of. This is what I like to call the biggest bait in all of Rocket League, and it's these balls that are bouncing on the goal line. And this is when it's really important to be paying attention to where your like opponents are and what situation your teammate's in. Because these balls that are just like bouncing here, super tempting. I cannot tell you the sheer number of times I've gone for these and immediately gotten scored on. Because I just throw myself into their net. As tempting as these are, the one thing we need to consider is, first of all, this thing is going to be bouncing back up. So in order for us to like get above it and put it back down into the net, we're going to have to get up pretty high in order to get over the ball. The other thing we need to consider is anyone on defense, all they got to do is just hit the ball away. They don't care how high into the air they get. They just need to get it out of here. So if we are like trying to jump up for this, it's pretty likely if we see a defender sprinting back like we see Bubba here, he's probably going to be able to get a save, just because of how much we need to slow down to actually be able to effectively put this thing back on target. So it's a lot to think about really quickly, because in the split second that we have, we see ball at goal, opportunity to score, we go. But one of the best things you can do is, if we like take this back just a split second, is just like keep mental track of where your opponents are. Because if we see, like, we can already see that Bubba is full sprinting down the field the entire time here. Like, he lands in the corner, he's coming back, he's going full speed. So we already know that he's coming back with full momentum. So even though this looks really tempting, we might like look at Bubba and go, it's probably not worth it. Because the best case scenario, yeah, you score this. Worst case scenario, you get clean beat. And any other scenario other than that is just a 50-50. Which, in all seriousness, when you got your teammate and then yourself stuck in your opponent's net, any 50-50 here probably just results in a goal for them, as long as it doesn't bounce in the worst way imaginable. Because, yeah, your teammate's also not going to be back anytime soon. So just an overall risky ball to go for in general.
I don't know what happened here.
Unfortunate. For sure, this is a good shot from him. Like, admittedly. It's perfect top left. Like, that's a good shot. But yeah, I mean, mainly what goes wrong is you just don't boost early enough. I think you're trying to debate if, like, you're actually going to have to make a save or if it's going to go to the backboard.
Yeah.
But, at this point right here, there's a couple of things that, like, in my games, I would already be recognizing. So, I just saw him use his flip. So that means that he no longer has control of this ball, so wherever it's going, he's not going to have an impact on it anymore. So I can pretty much stop focusing on him at all, and now just worry about making sure that I am positioned to intercept the path of the ball. So yeah, once you see them use their last flip and they're no longer in contact, it's just all about reading where the ball is going, utilizing the boost that you have to, and intercepting the shot. Because once we like ended up stopping using boost on the backboard, we were kind of toast. Because once we are too slow, there's just no way to catch up. And yeah, you do stop using boost slightly after he uses the flip. So, like, he flips there. You stop using boost here. If you just kept boosting, you probably have this. But that's just a misread. I mean, you had the right idea, just unfortunately didn't read it. But yeah, I don't know how much time you spend, like, looking at the other players in those situations. But if you notice that, like, you see them use their flip, make sure you get that mental note that pretty much means that you have a free ball if you just actually make contact. This is fine. This is a bit awkward on the rotation side, so there's a couple things I'm thinking here. So what you need to know in this situation is he winning this ball or is your teammate winning this ball? From the looks of it, it looks like he's probably going to win it. When I see this situation, my brain tells me I need to get back towards net as fast as possible. Like, yeah, it looks like this probably should just be an open net if he gets back to it. But also, I've seen some really weird things where the easiest open nets just bounce off the post. Especially when a player's under pressure. So even if Bubba does have the free touch here with Sprite challenge, like pressuring, I'm not gonna just assume that this is gonna end up in the net. On any open net situation, I'll never assume that it's just gonna end up in the net, because that means that if they do miss, now I'm even further out of position than I need to be. So with that in mind, when I think I need to get back quickly, what I'm gonna do is I'm immediately just gonna get on this line of boost pads. And then as I go, like, if something happens that I'm like, okay, now I don't need to get back to net as quickly, then I'll stop following the line and I'll swing out and I'll, like, grab this boost and then position accordingly for wherever I need to be. But if I do need to get back to net, then boom, I'm right there. But yeah, you do end up pretty much in the exact same position like you would have been.
Yeah.
Because we would have gone out to get the big boost once we saw this bounce, because there wouldn't have been much we could have done. But yeah, just be wary of that. And then one other thing I'm going to talk about here is just be careful of, like, how your car drifts when I'm assuming you're staring at the ball. And what I mean by that is, like, you're in a pretty good spot here. And I think correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think what happens is you're watching this guy jump, you're watching your teammate jump, and you're kind of just watching what happens. And at that, like, during that time, you're not really considering exactly where you're going. You're kind of just, like, continuing with your momentum whilst this plays out. But what I mean by that is, as this challenge happens, you're just going to keep drifting towards the middle of the net. Like, you just keep going. Like, and you end up all the way over here. Now, realistically, it ends up being totally fine because your teammate wins the challenge. But imagine you're here, this guy wins this ball clean, and now it's just floating in the air up here above you, like, over this way. That is a much harder aerial to get up to, as opposed to if you had just been, like, chilling more back post. But also just be wary of where you're going while you're waiting for challenges to play out, just to make sure that when the challenge does play out, you're in a good spot to actually do something with it. I like this leave of the boost for your teammate. You recognize that he's going for it. Good job not to steal it from him. I don't think you need to beeline back to your own corner boost, though. You have 48 boost. You got plenty of distance to the ball. You also have one player who's going to challenge before you after they pick up this boost. So there's really no reason to leave this play entirely. Because the way twos kind of works is the best method is your first man gets the ball off of whoever's controlling it on the other team and leaves it free for you to pick up. The only way that doesn't work is if the first challenge comes in and the second man is absolutely nowhere to be seen. Because then they can recover, like, the initial flick and just get back in control of it because you gave them too much space. So, like, the distance you're at now is, like, perfect, but by going all the way back here, now you've left your teammate, like, on an island, because he's going to challenge thinking you were, like, probably somewhere pretty nearby. But now, like, your opponent's just going to regain control of his ball, and now it's, again, like, another 1v1. Instead of you having been able to turn on that initial flick and just gotten possession for your own team. Once you do find yourself here, I would also recommend not hard drift turning and facing back out to the play. Main reason, if you look at where your car is, you're defending the back wall. Which I don't know about you, but, like, I love the back wall as much as anybody. But I would much rather defend the net than like, a random part of the wall. So in this point where you find yourself, like, all the way back here, I would just stay, like, shadowed towards the net, because then any flick, we at least give ourselves a chance. If we face out like this, and challenge like this, I doubt he has ball cam on right now. If I flip to him, yep, nope, he's staring right at you. He's just watching you come towards this ball. So yeah, if you just stayed like a bit more patient, like yeah, it's a scary situation, but we want to give ourselves the best chance possible. And facing towards the play and giving up an easy flick, not exactly the best play to be making.
Okay.
Decent attempt at control. I feel like you probably rushed this touch a little bit, like just a tad. On this one now, this is when it's big to watch where your opponents are. So like if you look at this guy, he has spun himself out on the wall. But what that does mean is that we do not need to rush this touch. He is not challenging. There's no one else around. If we realize that, like, we can let this ball bounce. It's not the end of the world if it bounces off the backboard. We can then turn and like actually take control and actually force out the 50-50 on our own terms, rather than like jumping into it. Now we're like, okay, this is a bit awkward. You do a great job, honestly. Like the touch you get works out great because you're in the same position. But one of the biggest things that will help you play more consistently is to not overcomplicate things. So many players will like try to make a touch that they don't really need to make. Like there's so many easier options that they could take, but like the way they move their card just makes things harder than it needs to be. So yeah, like just let the ball bounce off the wall, catch it, be in a position where you're in full control rather than like trying to get back to it. But yeah, generally like the simpler play will often be the best one you can take. This is fine, good turn off. Be careful of these. This is another one where we kill our momentum. I like that you turn away from the corner. What we have to realize that we have one teammate, our teammate's challenging the ball. This guy's all the way out of the midfield. So there's really no passing option here. And based on where this ball is, I highly doubt this guy's actually putting the ball in the net. What you don't want to do again is get yourself in this position where like you get somewhere, you hard drift turn, killing all your momentum, and you're just kind of dead stopped. So right here, it'd be totally fine to line up with like this group of pads that like circles around the top of the net. And once you're lined up, turn that ball cam back on as you're picking these up, because then as soon as you see a reason that you would need to turn, you can. But if you don't see a reason, you can just continue on your merry way picking up pads until you get back to the net. Because you get like two here, but now you're coming in near post and you have to like hard drift turn. Whereas instead, like around now-ish, let's say that instead you were like, I don't know. So like if you were here, like you probably right now would realize, okay, we don't want to like keep going all the way out here because that's not great. But like, look at where this ball's coming.
It's coming like right there.
Yeah, it's like, and your teammate might still jump anyway, right? Like you might end up in an awkward situation where you'd be in this double commit. But if you were here looking at the ball, like you would see him jump. So you like might not even go then, and then you just be like, all right, cool, we'll just, you know, chill. And yeah, just give yourself that wide angle. And generally will make any challenge that you need to go for easier. Assuming that you have the time to go for it. Good fake challenge here. I like this. This is one where we commit a little too hard too fast. And I know why you're thinking you need to go to the left, and it's because you see Bubba going for the ball. When in reality, we just don't know who's going to touch this. It could be either of them. Even if either of them get a touch, right? They're just going to like jump, flip into it, and like send it off in a direction. But you can kind of wait to see until you're sure where it's going to go and then commit in that direction. Rather than committing so early, and then it ends up being something totally different, and now you're like all the way over here, for really no reason whatsoever. Good block anyway to get that out of the way. I don't know if you meant to double jump. I think you probably meant to flip here. I would be careful with this anyway. You're already beat. There's not much you can do. I wouldn't jump in this case. I would just keep your wheels on the ground. I don't mind you going this way, because if this guy wants to tap this ball up and then he doesn't jump, you have a demo. But if he does jump over you, then you can just like immediately peel back, rather than being stuck in a flip animation and then having to come back after that, which gives your opponents just a little bit more time. This is another moment where we can look for small pad rotation initially as we're going. Generally, what I want to ingrain in your brain is at any point when you land, your first objective, if you're leaving, should be to look for small pads. And the reason I always say that is because if you're like going this way, you pick up this pad, and then again, with the whole option coverage thing, if something changes in the play and you're just here but you have more boost, you can turn. If you still want to keep going, you can do that too. But when you just fully commit to going through all the small pads, like you're already committed to going all the way over here, now it doesn't matter what changes in the play. You're already stuck. The rule that I was taught is when you land, you want to look for 3 pads and get back into play. Whatever 3 pads you can grab super quickly, go for those, and then get back. Obviously, in this case, we probably would have ended up over here anyway, because there's really no reason for us to be anywhere else, but we would have at least had the option. This is good spacing, I like this. This is hesitation. This is you not recognizing the opportunity fast enough. This is 100% a goal if you just jump, because he takes so long to get into the air. This again goes back to just like looking at what situation the other players are in. Because if we go back, like let's kind of look at what happens with Bubba. So he jumps here, he lands. There's no boost in that corner. There hasn't been. When was this boost taken? Okay, so it's here now. Let's see what happens. This is when we get downfield. Jet just took it. Okay. So let's see what happens here. So we know that boost ain't gonna be back yet. We just saw it get taken, so there's no boost there. So we can assume, and we also just see it spawn. So we know that it hasn't been taken. So we can assume that Jet is now out of the play. Bubba's also probably somewhat low boost. He probably has some, right? We can assume he's got like, I don't know, 30, 40 maybe. But he's also getting this ball rolled right at him, and then he just hits it straight up into the air. So now I want you to put yourself in this position. So
if I were him, I would not be feeling good about my situation.
So one of the best things you can do is, again, just note everything that's happening. So the last thing we see, right, is Jet's landing out of the play. This ball gets popped up. Even if he jumps immediately, we have momentum advantage, because he was pretty much dead stopped when this ball came at him. So this is a perfect opportunity to utilize the momentum that we have and just jump, because we're probably going to beat him out. And like, we just need to consider the awkward spot he's in. Like, looking at that, I don't have a whole lot of faith that he's going to be able to do much. And even if he does, right, like, this is a situation, we see our teammate is starting to work his way out. Like, he's already coming back. This guy's still facing back this way. Even if we jump and we get clean beat, there's not going to be a whole lot of speed on this ball. It's not going to be fast. It's going to just kind of be floaty, which gives our teammate a chance to get back. It's worth going for in this case, basically, just because of how awkward he is. Because you end up just in a 50-50 anyway. And that's the other thing. You do eventually decide to go. So you know that it was the right move to go. You just need to come to that conclusion faster. Is that, like, whatever you're going to do, just do it. What I always like to say, this is one of my favorite things that I say, is that it is always better to make the wrong decision quickly than to make the right decision too slow. Because if you make the right decision too slow, it doesn't matter that you made the right decision. You can go back and, like, let's say you go for this and you do get beat and you do end up getting scored on. Ah, darn, sucks. But we can go back and look at a replay then and see, okay, yeah, this is why I probably shouldn't have gone. If we make that decision quickly, we can fix the decision making. So, like, overall, if I was gonna list, like, the biggest things, one, boost usage. That's probably the biggest thing overall, is just maintaining your boost. And actually, point number 2 is one of the things that will help you with that, and that is don't rush around the field. Look for opportunities to just take things nice and slow. Only use boost and flips when you actually feel like you need to. Awareness of where the other players are too. That's another huge thing. Like, those 3 things will probably serve you very well. Boost usage, speed of movement around the field, and awareness of where the other players are and what they're doing. Of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you that made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below, so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, if you'd like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, and even have a replay analysis like this done on one of your own replays, make sure you also join my Discord, which will be linked down in the description, as I do offer free coaching through there. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.